Welcome to Life List, a birding podcast.
Hello. We are Life List, a birding podcast. I'm George Armistead. I am here with with one of my co-hosts today, Alvaro Jaramillo. Alvaro, what are you doing, man?
Hello, how you doing? I'm sitting here looking out the window at house finches today.
House finches.
It's not the most exciting, but you can learn a lot by looking at house finches.
You know,
that's for sure.
I was thinking, and I think Molly raised this idea at one point, that at some point, I think we should do an episode where we sit someplace and record with a view, and each keep an eBird list as we're recording, and then compare notes. I feel like you right now, at least, would be at a distinct advantage, as my recording area here at home is located in my basement, and I do have a window, and I can look at some wildflowers. And yesterday I did have a nice chipping sparrow feeding right outside my window here, and I can see house sparrows and song sparrows occasionally. And during migration, I even do better than that sometimes. But I know what your setup is like there, and you even get prairie falcon on odd occasions while we're recording. So,
once,
once, I know, but it's a hell of a good bird.
Yeah, it is for the coast. It is. It's definitely. I think that was my yard first. That prairie falcon.
Yeah,
but I remember seeing my yard first ferruginous hawk while I was talking to a friend, looking at the backyard. So that was good. And it's starting to get hot.
I was on the phone once with Adam Riley, and all of a sudden I was like, dude, I'm looking at a black-billed cuckoo right here, backyard. And that was downtown Philly. That was like, urban condo days. Not much vegetation around, but some Asian mulberry. But it was just enough for that black-billed cuckoo that day. That was a good one.
Do you know that black-billed cuckoo is one of the? I mean, there's a couple of eastern birds that just sort of never get to the west. Like really, really rare, even though they're not that extremely rare in the east. Like black-billed cuckoo is one of them.
I know. I know the Montana folks get very, very excited if a black-billed cuckoo becomes, like, I guess it happens there in kind of spring, early summer sometimes, and people get hype when those things show.
And the other one, of course, is red-headed woodpecker, which there was one in San Francisco that caused a stir recently. But it's another one, like it just doesn't. There's probably way more Lewis's woodpeckers going east and red-headed's going west.
Yeah, but still, obviously, I don't know what you mean by east, but there are still relatively few Lewis's woodpeckers in the east, but probably still way more than redheads.
Yeah. So did you know this? Okay, this is kind of a mind blower.
Riddle me this, Alvaro. Riddle me this.
Yeah, if you take passerine birds and you divide them up into the 9 primaried or 10 primaried,
the Oscines and the sub-Oscines?
No, because those are within the Oscines, 9 and 10 primaried.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, but I mean, actually any passerine. We're blowing it up to any passerine.
Wide open.
I think all sub-Oscines have 10. Some Oscines, like the singing birds, the sort of warblers, whatever, all that. Some of them have 9, some of them have 10. If you just separate them on 9 and 10 primaried passerines are much less likely to end up as vagrants on the West Coast as opposed to 9 primaried birds.
Huh.
So eastern flycatchers, those are 10. And like thrushes, great cheek thrush, veery, much less so than warblers, and other migratory birds, that have 9 primaries. Not weird.
That is weird.
And I thought, is it the primaries or is it the fact that some of those tens are harder to identify? Like a veery, gray-cheeked thrush, or, alder
Fly under the
flycatcher.
radar.
They're all fly under the radar.
Yeah.
So it's either something different or, in fact, it's a call to action to learn your 10 primary Aussine identification.
I like this. I like this challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I don't know how far into it you can go beyond that. And some people say, oh, yeah, but there's a lot less 10 primary Aussine species. So it's kind of skewed. Of course it's skewed. It's a silly, it's a silly thing to be talking about, but it's there. It's like a pattern.
Yeah. I like this. I think this deserves further scrutiny, I would say. Not less, but more. Yeah.
I know.
I like it.
And yeah. Birds with no primaries, like ostrich, never get anywhere. Very low.
That's true.
Rate.
Yeah,
Very
and that I feel like that deserves less study, perhaps.
That deserves less study.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more clear cut why. We have some good theories as to why that could be.
Yeah.
Although, like if you back up a bit, like taking this silly thing of flightless birds, it's really weird to think that there's related flightless birds in Africa, Australia, South America, right? And they didn't swim across to get between those places. So did they all evolve when all those continents were together?
Like Gondwanaland.
Yeah.
Gondwanaland birds.
I know. Does the timing match, like do kiwis and all those ratites, what we call them? Does it match the time that those continents were splitting apart, or was something else involved?
Yeah. Food for thought.
Food for thought. Flightless birds.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good T-shirt. Flightless birds. They never get anywhere.
They never stray.
They never stray. You can count on flightless birds.
Mm-hmm. Don't string flightless birds.
Yeah.
It'll really bite you in the butt.
That's right.
Yeah.
Although people do try to count those ostriches that people have in like their fields, Yeah. Sometimes I've noticed that.
I had a buddy who used to work at kind of out of touch now, but he worked for the Virginia Department of Game and Fish, and his job, part of the responsibilities that fell to him were like if kind of like exotic species were turned up someplace, he would have to go corral them.
Oh, wow.
And I remember him running into him like the day after he'd spent like a morning like running around trying to capture an emu that had escaped in someplace in rural Virginia, and he was like trying to round up this emu, and it sounded like
you can get hurt doing that.
Yeah, exactly. You could do, man. Those things, they kind of creep. They give you the creeps a little bit. They look you right in the eye. But he had crazy stuff. Like he had to bust up hot snake joints and stuff. Like where they call them hots when the illegal trade of venomous, well, not necessarily venomous snakes, but herps and stuff. And I remember him telling me about having to extract a pair of king cobras from some apartment in Northern Virginia one time they were in a box or whatever, but he had to get them out, and the box was like, too big to move the whole thing outside the apartment, and then he had to go in some place. They had a big crocodile inside bathtub and big Gabon viper and viper in some box and stuff. He had all kinds of stuff he had to run into. You wouldn't believe, everyone thinks Florida's the crazy place, but really it's just the United States that's just completely bonkers. People doing
suggest
weird stuff.
If you ever have to really, deal with king cobras, bring an Indian guy with a flute. Those guys.
Oh, yeah?
They seem to mellow them out big time.
All right.
Just put it in a basket
That's
little
a
woven basket.
that's a
Have
pro
him
tip right there.
right sit cross-legged in front of the basket with a flute. He just mellows that snake out. Just
Bucks County
seen it on
here.
TV.
I want to say it was like Bucks County, like maybe this is like 3 years ago, and I want to say it was like there was some dude that got busted for hot snakes, and they were cobras, and he had like 10 of them or something, and it made the news. And then like 2-3 months later, it was October or November, and there's a story in the paper about a little old lady who like looks out her sliding back glass door and sees a cobra trying to like get into her house. And like if that had been me, I'd be like scaling the walls, shrieking, like a banshee. I would have had zero composure. She's like, geez, there's a cobra out back. So she like just goes out back, gets a shovel and puts the thing out of its misery. And I was like,
really?
Yeah, she just dispatched the thing, I was like,
maybe she didn't know any better.
Yeah. I think she said she knew it was a cobra. She just wasn't, she just like managed to keep it together,
Wow. That's weird.
I was impressed.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have grabbed it and sold it in one of those hot snake things and bought myself a nice car.
I am not grabbing a garter snake, much less a cobra. No.
What a story, though.
I know, right? Be a good one to tell your friends.
You did grab it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you grab it in your backyard, you're allowed to sell it.
Hell, in November, you might be able to grab the thing if it was cold enough. The thing might not be, it's probably why I was trying to get inside. It's pretty chilly out there.
Yeah.
Not cobra weather,
I know. Although it's surprising how cold it can get in parts of northern India, and
it's true. Yeah,
I know that the lowlands of Bhutan have king cobras, and I was surprised. I mean, how high do they go? Because those places get cold up there, but maybe there's a big cobra migration. See them all going downhill.
Man, that sounds like an FX movie waiting to be made. The Cobra Migration. Yeah.
That's right. The Cobra Migration. It's definitely not a Hallmark movie. That's unless there's some good looking people that, the Cobra researcher meets the, the local vet, and they all seem to have nice little houses, although they have,
You should get right.
I haven't seen these movies, by the way.
I think you got to flesh this out. I think there's something to it. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
you know what movie I saw yesterday, Alvaro?
Barbie.
Bing, bing, bing. You got it.
Good guess.
Went and saw Barbie. I felt bad. I was the only one that didn't really dress up. I didn't like everybody else. Like I went with my sister, her boyfriend, and Kristen. 4 of us went. And everyone kind of pinked it up. And I had actually what probably would have been a really, really good outfit, but I just kind of forgot. And then we were in a hurry, and then I got there and everybody was all pinked out. And I was like, man, I really missed the boat here. But, pretty good movie. Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
Speaking of pinked out, you know what I saw today on the Facebook? And oh man, where was this? But it was up north somewhere, and a funny looking bird with a kind of pinky orange breast, big bill, some funny stuff going on in the wings. It was a female red siskin.
I saw that. I saw the.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it on. I saw it on the Facebook. I saw the news, and I was at first. I'm looking at this thing. I'm going, what? Like something is wrong with that. Like that. I think folks were trying to make it into a grosbeak or something, like a fucticus grosbeak, and I was like, that doesn't look right. But I don't know what it is. But then all of a sudden, someone suggested that, and I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like, I mean, what's it doing up there? But they're bred with canaries to bring out the red color. Oh, there it is. It was in Alberta, of all places.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there not long ago. Could have Could have seen it potentially.
Yeah. It's interesting though, it just these birds that are definitely not wild like this one. How it got there, from incredibly small range, but I guess they breed them now in captivity, so they're probably being bred by the canary fanciers, and they breed them with canaries because that's how they get that red color and orange in canaries. It's interesting.
They're getting them now a few places, I guess, more regularly than they have been the last few years.
You mean in the wild, like
in their native range? Yeah,
Suriname or
Guyana,
in the Guyanas,
the Guyanas, and northern Colombia. There's a spot people are seeing them pretty regular.
Yeah.
Yep. Not a bird I've seen. I've been within their range. There's a place when we used to do Venezuela tours where we were, we knew they could be around and we were always on the lookout, but never connected.
Never connected. Pretty rare. Yeah.
Yeah. Tough bird to
see.
Pretty
rare because people have been taking them from the wild to breed them with canaries. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. That's
get down to brass tacks. That's what's happening. Yeah. It's the people that have driven them out of most of their native range. Yeah. People catching them.
So we could talk Alberta and eagles, or we could talk merlets. What do you want to talk?
I think, we got a really good piece of feedback, which is what you're referring to,
right? Because I just saw that Alberta, and it started making me think. Just keep an Alberta thing. I think
you're talking sense, Al. I think you're talking sense. Yeah. And we should start by, this was an email we received in response to the episode we did on golden eagles with Trish Miller. And it was really great having Trish on. She was super. And we got a nice message from Caroline Lambert. Caroline Lambert.
I know. Yeah. She used to live around here, and we used to go birding on the boats and stuff. Very great photographer, birder,
Bay Area,
and so forth. And and then she went back to Alberta.
Yeah, well, folks, maybe I'll just read some of what she wrote us because it was well written and pretty interesting. If folks were into the golden eagle thing, which I think anybody should be by all rights, as I say, I think we all agree golden eagles are pretty fascinating birds. And what Caroline wrote was, I just finished listening to the recent episode on golden eagles and have to comment. As Alvaro knows, I am a principal observer with the eagle migration count in Kananaskis. I said that right?
Yeah.
Kananaskis area of the Canadian Rockies, which is, part of where we just were a few short weeks ago.
It's near Banff.
Near Banff, right? Yeah, just outside of Banff, a little ways. Yeah, near Calgary. And she wrote that 70 golden eagles in one day is not that much, actually, compared to what they see there. She said that would be a good number for the beginning or the end of our count period there in Kananaskis. But in the couple weeks around peak migration, we would feel hard done by if we didn't get over 100 eagles in a day. More than 200 would be a good day. The most I have had is 337 in a day, but I've only been doing this for 7 years. Our numbers have decreased significantly from around 4,500 per season in the early 90s to about 2,500 now. So in earlier years, they had bigger daily numbers. I don't know what the record is, somewhere around 700 or 800, but we still have more golden eagles pass by us than any other count site. It's hard to describe what it's like to see so many eagles in one day. Simply exhilarating is one way to put it. And she said that there's a group that does satellite tracking golden eagles from Montana, the Raptor View Research Institute, and that they are able to follow some individuals on their migration route, which is really fascinating, and it does tell them, I guess, that individual eagles can take different route each time and do some funny things. She said the Bernheim eagles, I'm not sure where that is, were tagged and tracked, were a real eye-opener. We thought that mated pairs travel together whenever we see a pair flying together, following the same trajectory, with one in front occasionally soaring to allow the one behind to catch up. We assume they're a pair, with the female in front, since in general, eagles don't seem to like each other much. When they get bunched up, usually due to weather, they'll take swipes at each other. So learning that a pair can take completely different paths was interesting. And that was a question, Al, that you had raised. She said, we are a hawk watch because we focus on golden eagles. We start to count after the peak migration in fall, after peak hawk migration. It's peak time for golden eagles, but they're just past peak for most raptors. She said we get around 80% golden eagles, 10% bald eagles, and 10% everything else, split mostly between accipiters, and they get a lot of goshawks and buteos. And she said when we're really lucky, we get gyrfalcons, wolves, bears, moose. That's the reward for some sitting out in some really adverse conditions. She said we're experts on battery-heated socks and gloves. The eagles are all the more amazing as they're flying along these mountain ridges in temperatures well below freezing. Anyway, thanks, Caroline. That was really, I was blown away by the numbers of that we were discussing with Trish at some of the sites here in Pennsylvania. Obviously knew there's a lot more golden eagles out west, but didn't know if there was a site that really was monitoring these. So those are some staggering numbers. 300 plus golden eagles in a day. And to think that a couple decades ago it was possible to see 700 or 800 in a day is just nuts.
To some extent, I got to admit that I feel like this is the kind of thing. Well, I'm glad we're talking about this, like, sort of getting out to the broad public out there, especially the American public, because there's stuff that happens in Canada sometimes that just doesn't get the traction in the birding world that it would if it happened in the US.
Yeah.
And it's just the way it is to some extent. There's fewer observers and maybe and other factors involved. But this count was actually in the old Birders Journal magazine that for a while had sort of a run of maybe 10 years from
It was
Canada.
a great publication.
Yeah, it was in there, and they had like a lot of information about the count and the number of eagles and how staggering it was. So this has been known for a long time, and it's interesting that we the average birder does not know about the numbers that happened there. And lots of things I learned from that note, but one of them is the great decrease over time, because we were asking about increases, decreases in the East, and I guess there's just a little less data. But this is one solid place where they've been counting in the same way for decades, and there's a decrease in golden eagles, and it's also the highest numbers of golden eagles going by anywhere. So that really is troubling. And the actual place is called Mount Lorette, if you're ever wanting to sort of go and check it out. And
better bundle up, sounds like.
Yeah, bundle up. And I do wonder if earlier in the season there's what the non-eagle summaries or
that could be pretty fascinating.
Like, that could be fascinating. Like you say, I was there once in the area, and I looked up and I saw a Swainson's hawk just kind of go over, and you're in the mountains. And I thought, well, that's interesting. This really is a route for these raptors to go by. Thanks for that email. That was a lot of cool information, about golden eagles. Superb.
Yeah. Really good stuff. Yeah, we did also have remember we were talking band names, Al. Bird band names.
Yeah, that's right.
The Oleaginous Hemispingus Project, which Chris, our buddy Chris Benish, just posted a nice poster of. I feel like that needs to be a T-shirt. But we got a nice note from Colin Clark as well. He wrote, "Funny you mentioned bands with bird names. and then went on to talk about House Martins, because there's actually a great British band from the 80s called the House Martins. He said, look up
Yeah.
their song Happy Hour. You know the band, Al?
Oh, yeah. No, the House Martins.
Yeah.
They've been split. The band split up. Now it's like the, what is it? Western and European House Martin and Asian House Martin.
God, can you imagine? Well,
Nepal House Martin, though, that's a really rare band to see live.
Oh boy, here we go. Well, Colin also mentioned a couple other, well-known bands with birds in them. Flock of Seagulls, he said, might trigger some people. Certainly, if you're Gen X, I think everyone will remember the hairstyle of Flock of Seagulls. And of course, there's the Counting Crows, the Yardbirds, and then also mentioned them Crooked Vultures, which is a really good band, and includes John Paul Jones and Dave Grohl, and a band probably a lot of folks would enjoy. And then I think he also mentioned a couple of. He said there's a band called the Bowerbirds that have a song called Marbled Godwit, is sort of a double whammy. And then he said one of his favorite bands is Half Man, Half Biscuit, and they have a song that mentions the Sanderlings in their lyrics. So not a band on birds, but that they,
Right.
they actually mention Sanderlings. So
half man, half biscuit. If it was in the U.S. and you had to call it half man, half cookie, it just doesn't sound nearly as good.
Yeah, it doesn't quite
biscuit
resonate.
Sounds better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to mention too that we talked about the Lewis's woodpecker migration numbers in the fall some time ago, and it was Nick Ampersey who sent the original note, and I got to meet him and Kelly on one of the pelagic trips. And they were super nice folks. And he, after the pelagic trip, Nick said, "Hey, I was the guy who wrote you that note, and how much they enjoyed the podcast." And I guess Nick and Kelly went fishing the day after. They liked they liked the boat, and went actually one day of birding, one day of fishing. And I thought that was pretty cool to actually just take in the ocean experience like that, visiting from the inland portions of California. So yeah, it was nice to meet some real live meeting of folks who listen to this.
Nice. That's awesome. I also wanted to mention that the American Birding Association has a new president, Wayne Klockner, and I think it's going to be great for the organization. Wayne has a lot of really great experience, and I think is a great fit for moving the ABA forward. So folks should definitely keep an eye on the American Birding Association in the coming year or two here. There should be some positive developments there, and I know Wayne is a listener as well. It was fun to chat with him fairly recently, and he's a great guy, and I think we're all fans of the ABA and looking forward to seeing it move ahead and prosper and continue to do really good stuff. So that was cool to have that meeting as well. Shifting gears a little bit here, Al. I'm sitting here right now, and my cat is nearly on top of my keyboard. She is sound asleep right now. Like, usually it's the dog that's hanging out with me, but we're dog sitting. So we have two dogs, and the other dog and the cat, they're fine with each other, but they make each other a little bit nervous. So I'm keeping the dog out while I record here. And the cat is just like pretty blasé, spread out here. every now and then has brushed up against the microphone. So hopefully, it's giving a little head bump. So hopefully that doesn't come through or cause us any trouble.
If you have problems with the cat there, you might just put it outside. You know what I mean? That's what.
Yeah. What's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst thing that could happen? Just like let it out. People say they love to be outside. These cats.
It's true. Yeah, they just love it. They really,
that's
it's natural.
It's natural. They're natural part of the environment.
Don't listen to Alvaro, people. Please, whatever you do not listen to Alvaro. Guy's crazy spreader of misinformation. Yeah. Well,
here's some more misinformation. I got just a quick little thing of a bird that looks like a cat. The great horned owl, right? You know how they kind of look like a cat if you look at them right straight on you with the big old yellow eyes.
They get sort of the disapproving look and all. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah.
There's this for years people down south have been saying that the great horned owls in Patagonia and up into the sort of southern Andes sound different. They're small-footed, like really small talons, and so they sound different, and we should split them. They've been called Magellanic horned owls. They've been called lesser horned owls. And we just got a new paper, Emily Ostro and et al., about the phylogenomics of great horned owls. And sure enough, the southern birds clump out as a different genetic group. So we have now genes, voice, morphology, and distribution that, the two types almost come together in parts of Argentina and elsewhere, I think a little further north and probably in Bolivia. That and I think Ebert Cornell had made this split, but now it's sort of even more reinforced by this genetic paper on great horned owl. I like Magellanic horned owl myself because that's how I learned it, but I guess the official name is lesser horned owl, which to some extent is good because it is smaller.
It's noticeably smaller, yeah. Very gray, very, very gray.
Very gray. And they often nest on the ground.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, ground nesting things.
Yeah.
But their voice says the hooting, and then it has kind of a trill at the end. That's the funny part. I could, sort of rather than just hoots like the typical great horned owl. Sounds quite different. You would recognize it as a great horned owlish, but then you go, hey, that's weird.
It's a bubo, clearly a bubo, but
yeah. But all the eagle owls are bubos too and stuff. So snowy owl is as well. So
exactly,
it is a diverse. So there you go.
I would like it if, like, great horned owl is a great name, but I feel like if it was like American eagle owl, like the general public, I suspect, would be, much more fascinated by that bird. And I kind of wish that it was called an eagle owl, but rather than great horned.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can tell you're not buying that argument.
Yeah, like great horned owl is pretty good.
It is. It's a great name.
Yeah.
But
it's funny we have so many horned owls like in North America. Have you thought about this? Are there other horned owls? Like we have, I guess long and short actually are throughout the Northern Hemisphere, but we have long-eared.
Yeah.
Eared. They're eared. They're not horned.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of that, like that we're just talking about the ears.
Yeah.
And most owls, you're not talking about their ears elsewhere.
Yeah. And a lot of them do have ears. So, tufts.
Fake ears.
Yeah.
I mean, they all have ears, but they don't all have tufts.
Some of them have
There's
asymmetrical
long-tufted
ears.
Screech owl, actually. Long-tufted screech owl. Just thought of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's crested owl. Maybe there are other owls that the ear bits
are emphasized.
Yeah, you shouldn't listen to me. You're right.
So, Al, one thing I wanted to raise. I was kind of winding up with my talk of my cat here to ask you to tell folks a little bit about the new member of your family there.
Oh, I like to keep my private life private. We have Bodhi, the new puppy.
Yeah,
Woo!
that's where I was headed. Yeah, I was going to say, tell us about Bodhi, man.
He's a small dog, a baby dog. We call them puppies. And
Puppies. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good word. Yeah.
It's cachorro in Spanish.
Cachorro.
Did you know that word?
No,
Cachorro.
I
That's a hard one to pronounce, right?
Cachorro.
You got a CH and a double R in there. Cachorro.
I like it.
So yeah, he's a chocolate lab of the English variety. You know that whole division of American English labs, or
no? This is news. They're just dogs to me.
Yeah. The English labs are bred to be kind of stockier, shorter, kind of a broader heads, and they're kind of real good looking.
Are you implying that American dogs are also fatter than Europeans?
No, they're
European
skinnier.
Okay.
They're
okay.
skinnier.
All right.
All right. Yeah, American. And in fact, they call them American, but labs are Canadian to begin with. So
heavens.
Yeah.
There we go again. We've even stolen their Labrador retrievers.
Dog originally. And this American lab tends to be sort of skinnier. They're actually more high strung, and they're the ones that people use for hunting. So they're bred more for hunting and families, but the British labs are more mellow, not the kind that tend to, jump up on you and smell you in uncomfortable places. You know how labs are. These are a little bit more mellow, but very good looking animals. So,
yeah,
we're all about the looks here because, I decrease the average look quotient here in this household. So I just saw your cat.
Cat just rearranged.
Rump.
Yeah, cat just totally rearranged. It's still basically eating up most of my desk here, but it just kind of like pivoted. It stood up, stretched, pivoted, and then plopped down again, and it's now pretty much in a perfect circle. It's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, we've got this new dog, and it's pretty cool. Fun little guy.
I have to say the pictures look very cute, Al. Very cute. You're going to melt some hearts. So you take Bodhi for a walk, man. You got to be careful out there.
I know he's too young now for the full on walks yet, but soon when he can go and mix with the other dogs, you got to wait for the vaccine to kick in.
You think he's going to be a good bird dog? Think he's going to turn up like another Siberian Excenter for you? You should tell people about that, man. I still can't get over that.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned that before. Well, I
don't know if we heard the story, but
there's not much to the story actually, but it's a sad story. But the truth is that you have to go out to see birds. You see, this is like the key. You got to go outside to see birds or look outside.
Mm-hmm. You got to be looking. I would say you got to be in the game to win the game, right? You got to be looking. Yeah.
So how do you get outside? A lot of people go birding, and I often don't have the time to just go birding. So I walk my dog or do other things that are associated with the outside world. So
you bring your binocs when you bring your binocs when you walk the dog?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I go running too, but that's binocularless, so, and I found good birds running or walking the dog. Some real good ones, like, Leconte sparrow here a few years ago.
I remember that one. Yeah.
The first
slatyback.
I think it was the first spring red-throated pipit. So it was like a red, it was walking my dog. Just that, the longspur, chestnut collar longspur some years ago. But when I was in Vancouver and I had to walk my dog, and I had this little park, Vancouver, where I live, was not nearly as good a vagrant spot as most, but I would do this route, not route. I do a route, right? And so I would go and do this specific route that I knew how long it took to do it, and also I would survey. So I was getting data. And in fact, it was like, I don't know, November, something like that. Nothing much is going on. And I was walking with the dog, and this crazy little bird popped up out of the shrubbery, and I looked at it from the back, and it was kind of all rusty, thing, and I said, "Oh my God, that must be a rustic bunting." And I don't know why I just knew it was something really cool because it looked like nothing I've ever seen before, and it moved its head sideways, and suddenly it was like, that thing's got a bill like a warbler. And then I was just stuck there going like, what is that thing? And I remember thinking, I've seen this in the book. I've seen this thing in the book. I had no idea what it was. I think it's that accenter, And I had no camera at the time, so with me, and I just looked at it and made mental notes of where all the bits and pieces were. And then it started calling like a golden crown kinglet, these high pitched notes. So, and I was like, oh my God, so I raced home with the dog in tow. And I just made a drawing of the thing with all the details and the calls and all that. And I remember that, I phoned people, and it's like, let's go back out there and try to find this thing, and camera at that point, and it was never seen again, ever. And the thing was that people were like, well, gosh, that would be the first Canadian record for this species from Asia. And you don't have a picture, you don't have nothing. I have this drawing, and these details. And I do remember that what happened was kind of like just lucky. The week after, another one showed up in the interior of British Columbia, and it was in a feeder, and everybody went to see it. And everybody's mind went to like, hold on a second, maybe this guy's not so insane. This actually can happen. And then my description of the call at that time was not something that you could just, download a call of. It was, there were cassette tapes of birds of Soviet Union or something. It wasn't even Russia probably at that point. It was so long ago. Maybe it wasn't that long ago. But in any case, the fact that the description fit what they were supposed to sound like, when one of the people in British Columbia who was evaluating this record actually got in touch with somebody in Siberia and said, what do you think of this call description? They were like, this is actually pretty good. That's kind of what they sound like. So then it was accepted because they thought I couldn't have known enough to lie.
Right. You couldn't have made that up and happened to get it right,
Right. So then they accepted it as the first Canadian record, but then they had backup of this, photographed and well-seen one a week or two later. But it was walking the dog, one of the rarest birds I've ever found, but one of the most sad in a sense, in that it was never seen again. And now I think, knowing what I know about these birds, I think I looked for it all in completely the wrong way. I was looking in this park, which was surrounded by houses. I mean, I was right at the edge of where the neighborhood hit the park. And what I should have gone and done is visited all of the
yards
nearby and listened for this thing. Nobody looked for it in the yards or in the house. They all looked for it in this big park full of blackberry. And it just, you're never going to see anything in that park. But there you go. Walk your dog.
That there's the genus for that, right, is Prunella.
Prunella,
yeah. And there's a genus of plants also by the same name.
Okay.
I feel like it shouldn't happen.
Well, you know why? It's the zoological code of nomenclature is just zoological, and there's a botanical code of nomenclature, and they're separate. So you have the same with ruddy turnstone arenaria.
Mm-hmm.
There's a plant arenaria.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. So you cannot have the same name within animals, but you can have the same genus between a plant and an animal.
Gotcha. Because we actually found some, it's called self-heal, and it's used in herbal medicine, or it's called all heal. And I'm I was trying to figure out what this plant was in our yard, and I was like, Prunella? I was like, this isn't a Prunella. I know what a Prunella is, and they got no business being here. I'd love to find a Prunella here, but, an accenter. But anyway.
I don't know. I don't know how many times this happens, but it's Prunellidae, the entire family, right?
Yeah.
It's the family. And I think it's one of the, I don't know how many families there are that have multiple species, that they're all in the same genus. I don't think there are accenters outside of Prunella, but that
No.
could have changed.
No, I don't think so. I'll double check, but I think
You
you're
know,
right.
but you know what I mean? Like, if you have 3 or 4 plus species, you tend to, get multiple genera.
Right, a couple
Obviously,
different
if you
genera
only have one
involved
species
usually.
in this, yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder how many families with 5 plus species have all of them in the same genus. That'd be like a
this has
question
got
for listeners.
Yeah, obviously the Himalayas, where a lot of these are, all Eurasian.
Mm-hmm. And the Dunnock.
About a dozen. Yeah, the Dunnock is the famous one. Also is famous for the crazy sperm competition. It's like a free for all mating season for those things. It's crazy. But yeah, there's 12 species in that genus, and yeah, that's the family.
That's the family.
Yeah.
I want to see the Altai. That's the one I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like that name, Altai.
Yeah, I don't think we saw that one, but I think we had maybe 4 species or something on our snow leopard trips, our snow leopard trip that Doug and me and some others did. So that the
Alpine
Himalayas.
accenter is kind of neat.
Yeah, and that is, I think, the only bird on my Spain list. I literally walked from France in the Pyrenees into Spain, saw an alpine accenter about 100 foot, inside of Spain, turned around. Well, I saw the alpine accenter, declared Spain a lovely country, turned around and went back, but no passport stamp or nothing. Just like.
Did you plant the flag of Philadelphia there?
I did. I just planted a Philadelphia Eagles flag. That was all that was really necessary. Go Birds, baby, go Birds. Yeah.
Is the flag of Philadelphia 2 dudes holding hands?
Yeah, brotherly love, little brotherly love.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, both with beards.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I associate Philadelphia people with beards.
The flag of Philly looks kind of like the Ukraine flag. It's like a lot of yellow and blue.
Oh, really? So there is a flag.
Yeah. And it's 2 women on it. So go figure. Anyway,
most flags don't have people on them, by the way.
Yeah, it's true. It's unusual, Yeah. What was the one that had the AK-47? That's always struck me as sort of a peculiar choice for a flag. But
yeah, sort of like, don't come in here.
Yeah.
We don't need you.
Yeah, I think they've since dispatched with the AK-47 on the flag, but it's always seemed a questionable choice to me. I don't know.
The Nepalese flag is interesting in that it doesn't have the flag shape. It's like 2 triangles.
Mm-hmm. Have
you seen that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's Nepal. Mm-hmm. Like most flags are flag shaped, but this one is sort of like, why'd you guys do that?
I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
Who made you want to do that?
It almost looks like semaphore or something, like something you'd string up on a boat,
Yeah, right. It's like bad weather today.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the Nepalese flag.
Yeah. Well, speaking of boats, Al, I think we're going to chat a little bit about this crazy thing happening offshore there where you're at with these Synthopomorphous merlets, right?
Yeah, merlets. Yeah. So here's what's happening. We have these merlets, and people might know about marble merlet and ancient merlet and all these other ones, but the ancient actually is in the same genus as these 3. I sometimes call them, maybe incorrectly, but due to their distribution, the Mexican merlets.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, Scripsis, actually nests mostly in California, but the other 2 nest, really off of Baja California in Mexico. One of them's the Guadalupe merlet, mainly on Guadalupe Island, and then the Craveries merlet, which nests in the southernmost sort of part of islands, on the Baja, and also on the inside, the Sea of Cortez side of Baja. And these murrelets are offshore little birds. So, if you've never done any boat birding, they're tiny, and they're swimming around on the ocean, and you have to find them, right? when you're out there to see them. And the only times you ever really have good murrelet days are when it's pretty calm.
Yeah.
You cannot. Sometimes you'll find them.
They literally keep a low profile, right? Like,
low profile.
What they do. Yeah.
And so you need these calm days to find them, but also they're very specific as to the habitat that they like, and they like warmer water, right? That's why they're nesting down there versus the ancient, that's way up north that is a cold water, or marbles, who are cold water. And they move northward after breeding to a really variable extent, and especially crevaries, which has to sort of come around the tip of the peninsula in Baja to sort of make it up this way. Because I should kind of backtrack too and say that when these guys fledge, they fledge as little downy young.
Really tiny, right?
Tiny. And then they follow the parents. I assume it's the male, like in Murs, but I'm not quite sure. And then they swim north, to better pastures, better foraging habitat. So it takes them a while to move north, and they don't always get all that far north, right? Because they hang out where the food is. This year, the Crevaries murrelets are moving north, and it has not happened, like more further north than usual. Let's put it that way. It has not happened since 2017 that this movement has sort of been this far north, and they started seeing a bunch of them in San Diego, and then they saw them sort of off of Ventura County. And on Saturday, we found a few of them from Morro Bay, which once you get to Morro Bay, you're actually outside of the real warm water part of California. So that's like the key. You're like, oh, if they're there, they could be further north. So I suggested we would be looking for them on Sunday out of Monterey Bay, which is further north still. And boom, we found two of them there as well. So we think this next weekend, if the conditions still stay with warmer water and calm ocean, we might find them even further north off of Half Moon Bay, or even in, some more in Monterey. But it is weird to me to think that this has not happened for so long, like 2017. And if we'd have to go back to the pre-blob period. So 2014 to 17 was the blob. That's when they kind of came up regularly.
Uh-huh.
Before that blob period, I think we even had several years, maybe 1 or 2 years, where none of them, zero, were detected in the U.S. altogether. So they weren't even making it to San Diego. So, yeah, like they can actually just stay down in Baja and not make it up north some years. Most years recently, they've been regular, if not actually kind of easy to see off of San Diego. And now, we've had this northward incursion, which is, the first in not 10 years, but what is it? It's a bunch of years. And so this is a big sign to me that this year we are finally getting that, I don't know, you want to call it El Nino, you want to call it whatever, but there's a warm water northward shift happening. Event. And it may be separate from El Nino, maybe all part of El Nino. I'm not sure. I don't want to it's almost easier to see this later when you kind of analyze it all. But it's they're shifting north. And in this calm water habitat we were in, that was warmer water and calm, we did see Scripps' murrelet, which is usually the typical one if we're going to find one out there. And one of the odd things, and I don't know if this is going to bear out to be true for the rest of the season, every single Scripps' murrelet was a singleton, right? And usually we see them as pairs. Like these murrelets are almost always in pairs. And everyone was a single. And all of the crevaries were pairs. And I think, what's that about?
Yeah.
unique. And the other thing is we're going out there. We're very excited. We saw saw 3 species of boobies, 4 individuals, which is unheard of almost this far north. And we started seeing fur seals, right? Fur seals are not rare here. They breed, northern fur seal breeds in the Farallones and increasing population and so forth. So, and they sit on the surface kind of like sleeping. We started seeing fur seals, then getting better looks. And it's like, you know what? I think these are Guadalupe fur seals. They're not northern fur seals. They're the quite rare still, but growing population from some of the islands in Mexico. And they've colonized some of the, I think, the Channel Islands. But for a while, it was a animal that was considered, nearly extinct. And we counted 70. Actually, Eli Gross counted 70 fur seals, and now we assume that they were all, Guadalupe fur seal. Yeah,
wow.
And so you see where I'm getting at. It's like all stuff from the same area.
Everything.
We didn't see a Guadalupe murrelet, which would have been very cool.
Yeah.
But boobies, fur seals from the south, and these Crevaries murrelets from the south, all moving north. And also an abundance of migratory Sabin skulls, like 800 plus.
Man,
so
that's amazing.
It was quite the day. But to me, from a biological birding / funky thing going on, the movement of the murrelets north is interesting. And it also means we should be really vigilant to find the rare Guadalupe murrelet, which does come up regularly to the north, but it is often the furthest one offshore. And it's just tough. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
There you go. Murrelets.
Pretty cool. And those,
Pretty cool.
And let's see, is it Guadalupe is also, of those 3, is an endangered species. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other 2 are vulnerable. So not, I think they all number below 10,000 total birds, right? You're not talking about a ton of them. Right.
And then, and they're spread out over a wide area of the ocean, and you got to find them from a boat. It's The one thing that is like a true mystery that I was reading about recently. So we had one murrelet that we saw very well that had a tendency, like it was a Scripsis type murrelet, but it had white coming up in front of the eye, some white.
I was going to ask you about that.
That's a key ID thing for
Guadalupe.
Guadalupe.
Yeah.
A lot of white on the face. But this one was like in between. Like it was and what do you do with those? And it turns out that those intermediate birds tend to be from the San Benito Islands, which are kind of central Baja California Peninsula, sort of. And the genetic work that's been done on them suggests that they're not hybrids. Like the San Benitos have Guadalupe and Scripsis breeding there. They're slightly separate, I think, by breeding timing. But the genetic work that was done, I think they had 3 intermediate birds. 2 of them clumped out to be clearly Guadalupes. 1 of them clumped out to be clearly Scripsis, and they had an ability to figure out if these were hybrids, and none of the 3 were hybrids, but they were intermediate morphologically. So then that is the worst case scenario you can have for a field ID situation.
Yeah.
Basically, you cannot tell what that is.
Eesh.
And you can't resort to saying it's a hybrid, because at least it's only 3 individuals that have been genetically looked at were not hybrids.
Huh.
But we saw one of those birds, so that's weird, isn't it?
That seems like it could really muddle the picture. Interesting.
But it is exciting out there this year. Now that we've sort of finished our Farallon trips, and now we're doing these offshore trips, and we've been waiting to get offshore, and it was like, boom,
Yeah,
really good. And I think too that we're probably gonna find a lot of storm petrels a little further north, we weren't in the best storm petrel places in this weekend, but this next weekend we're going to storm petrel places, and that'll be of interest. See what's out there.
Nice. Well, we should probably scoot, man. We gotta get to getting, but I gotta say I'm pretty stoked that fall really seems to be unfolding here. Started to see some songbirds this morning, and some of my first migrant warblers. It was pretty awesome seeing blue-winged warbler and Canada warbler and Baltimore orioles starting to stack up, and ruby-throated hummingbird numbers really starting to swell. They're buzzing around, being little jerks, chasing everything, chasing all the catbirds, chasing anything, sitting still. The ruby-throats are really getting after it, and their numbers here at the feeders, their numbers are swelling, but just everywhere, really getting to be a good time for them. So, I'm excited to be around for a lot of this coming fall, and looking forward to seeing a lot of friends over the course of the coming weeks and months. So looking forward to that. Al, I think we should remind folks too that they have an opportunity to take a proper wilderness adventure with the two of us.
Yes.
Coming up.
Not the best trip for hummingbirds, but
not a very good trip for hummingbirds.
For seabirds and all sorts of other beautiful places.
Yeah. All of that is true. And start planning ahead, folks. December of 2024, Al and I are going to be doing this crazy cruise, a spectacular seabird extravaganza, but there's also parrots and tomtits and pipits and all sorts of cool stuff to be seen, including big numbers of penguins and albatrosses and, really a big chunk of the world's seabirds. Most of the world's albatrosses, species-wise, nest down there. This birding down under seabird spectacular cruise that we're going to be doing. Check it out. It's on both our sites, on Alvaro's Adventures and at Hillstar Nature. And think about joining me and Al on that.
Yeah, and while a really great adventure, keep in mind that it's on a really comfortable boat.
Really nice.
Have nice food, nice wine after you've been birding all day and so forth. So it's a comfortable adventure, just so that you get
it is.
That
we will probably see one. We will probably see 0, 1, or 2 other boats, maybe the entire journey. Typically, you're out there and you're really isolated in a beautiful set of different archipelagos.
Right.
I just got a new book I'm going to check out. My friend Eric gave me on the region. I'll share more about that a little bit later on. But folks should definitely check out our Birding Down Under cruise to the Subantarctic Islands in New Zealand and Australia. Some great birding to be done. Some of the best in the world, I dare say.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And we will be podcasting from there, assuming, we can record.
Oh, yeah. We'll get it.
Send it out to people, but at that point.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to. Maybe we can send some files on and figure out how to post. We'll see.
Yeah. If we were in the CIA, we'd be able to send our files out, but we're not.
Maybe we'll have another one where George and Al have had one or too many beers prior to recording, like we did in Antarctica. That was an interesting one. I'm sure folks will remember.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway,
we were giddy.
Yeah, we were definitely giddy. That is for sure. Yeah. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. We will be back again soon. Hope to see you out in the field. Al, have a good one, man.
All right. Bye-bye.